Kathy Klotz, guest of Keeping It Human, and I'm here with a pair that they don't need an introduction. They are the dynamic marketing duo. You know them as Andrew and Pete, Andrew Pickering and Peter Gartland. Hey guys!
Hey!
Woo, 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 woo.
You revealed our last names. That's a no-go.
Yeah, we don't have last names. It's just Andrew and Pete. That's
I know.
it.
See, I just blew the lid off it. They actually have last names. I know. They're like Cher. You're kind of like, Bono. You're like
I'll
Madonna.
be Bono.
I'll be Bono.
You can be Cher. You can be Cher.
Exactly. I was going to say who's going to be. I was going to say Batman and Robin. Then you'd have to fight over who's going to be Batman and who's going to be Robin. So, yeah.
That was too good for me to try to attempt something better.
You guys did a talk and you talked about in your session the 90-10 rule.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's been talking about it. I was keeping up on the Twitters, and I was looking at people going, oh my God, that was so awesome, Andrew, Pete, the 90-10 rule.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about what that is and why it's important.
Okay, so the 90-10 rule is all about how to be more remarkable with your marketing and with your content marketing. And we found so many of the people we were working with weren't being remarkable because they were trying to do too much stuff in too many places, spreading themselves so thin. So the 90-10 rule basically says spend 90% of your efforts doing one thing remarkably well, 10% of your efforts experimenting, faffing on with everything else.
So in principle, it's a really easy idea to get your head around, but it's kind of a little bit harder to implement because there's so many different things that we're being told to do constantly by every other marketer. Everything's new, everything's hot, everything's must do right now. And there's all this pressure on us as marketers to actually do the new thing, do what's hot. Instead, what it's actually doing rather than helping us is just spreading us even thinner. And it's just making everything that we do just a little bit more average every time we extend the extra thing we add to our to-do list.
I completely relate to that because I think that, bad marketing happens to good people. The worst thing to happen to marketing are marketers. And I think it's because we're told to do everything. You hit it on the head, and I think it's overwhelming. And it sounds easy in principle, but it's tricky. Like you guys found your zen and your jam,
Yeah.
And I know you've kind of tried a bunch of different things, but have you found one thing? What's the one thing that you love doing that you feel like that's our lane, that's our thing?
For us, it's YouTube. So a YouTube channel, AndrewandPete.tv, that's what we love to do. We feel comfortable on camera, we can show our personalities.
And edit it.
Yeah, you can edit.
Well, see, and that's important because one of the things I love most about you guys is that you are so fun to watch on video.
Thank you.
You genuinely like each other. You've been friends since college.
Wait, where did you get that idea
I know,
from?
crazy, right?
That's all the editor. We pay her well.
Off stage, we're having to break up a fight between these two.
We just have a little bit of a black eye still remaining.
This is all part of an act.
I do have a black eye. I can see that. My tweets weren't quite cutting it. I didn't get enough retweets.
That's right. That's how they decide who gets their way in whatever they're doing. But you truly have fun, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You guys genuinely have fun. You are so real, and in an industry that keeps telling us to be authentic, be authentic. And I think it's hard because sometimes we hear that so much we don't really know what that is.
No, I actually think this is an incredibly important part that we talked about in our talk because if you don't enjoy what you do, you can never be consistent with it. So if you want to be consistent with your marketing and get something out every single week, then you need to start enjoying it.
Yes, and I almost enjoy it too much. So with our videos, one thing that we do is try to be just a level above what we actually are in real life. And I think we sometimes when we're recording the videos, we feel like we're coming across like so crazy and so animated. But actually when we watch it back, it's quite normal. And I think people feel nervous about pushing themselves out of the comfort zone. And so they maybe go a level below. And then that's when it comes across as just really boring.
I think you're right. I think we sort of think that it's like I talk fast. And so when I get on stage, I make it a point to talk slow. But then in my head, I think it sounds really slow. And everyone else is like, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like you're Kathy, like what you think is slow is normal for the rest of us.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good advice. Is just don't be afraid to sort of amp it up. And if you think it's too much, you can always dial it back.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to go higher. And then if you need to, kind of figure out where that sweet spot is. And I love that advice. Besides being here right now with me, what's your other favorite part of content marketing?
Ah,
I mean, nothing quite compares.
no, I mean, it's hard, isn't it?
But you know, Miles down here at number 2.
I know.
I don't know. It is just the awesome people here.
Yeah.
The opportunity to meet all the other speakers, all the other attendees, who are all running these incredible businesses, and it's really inspiring. And you get to learn so much, even just in the conversations you're having in the hallway.
Yeah.
So
true.
that's invaluable.
It
to
really
us.
is. I think so much of the good stuff happens outside the sessions. It's the conversations,
Yeah.
like seeing you guys and how much. Because I mean, I see people. Sometimes I only see them here,
Yeah.
or and just the hallway conversations are just so amazing. Right?
I'm
Right,
surprised we still have our voices left at
I
this
know.
stage. This
True.
morning I woke up and it was croaking. So I thought, oh no.
You're too popular. You two need to tone it down. Like
Get on the
you guys are just-
chamomile tea.
You're too much fun. You're too much fun. Is there anything that you think is changing in content marketing that you've noticed a theme of today? Because things are moving so fast. And we say content marketing like instead of just marketing. Like, will we ever get to a point where we just say marketing?
Maybe. You know what? Because obviously with our 90-10 rule talk, it was a different concept, and coming to an event like this and presenting it, it's always quite nerve-wracking, thinking, oh my God, will everyone agree with us? But we've actually seen that thread throughout a lot of the talks. People are telling you to slow down, do less, not try to get overwhelmed by all the things that you should be doing. So I do think that has been a theme that we've spotted, at least, through all the talks.
Yeah. No, I think you're totally right. I sometimes think it's overwhelming, and I think we're trying to do too much, to your point, and just pick the thing. Do you have any advice for people who might be thinking, how do I find my lane? What if my lane is 10 different things? I want to try 10 different things. What advice would you give to people about finding that lane?
Well, this is what our talk is about, and there's a lot to it, obviously. Some highlights there, though, like it has to be something that you enjoy. Almost if you imagine like a perfect Venn diagram, you've got the what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
You've got like what your customers love, but to a degree, your customers are like everywhere, and so long as you're creating great content, it doesn't really matter. For most businesses, everybody is on every platform to a degree, right? Or a few of them. And then, you also want to look at the data, the analytics. We looked at our data, everyone that was joining and becoming customers for us were from our YouTube channel. And we enjoyed our YouTube channel, so why were we splitting our time doing videos on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn? Like, it doesn't matter. And the more we focus down on that one thing, we 10 times our results. And so it just makes complete sense, and it's a lot easier to do and more fun. So who doesn't want that? Easier, more customers,
Sign
less
me
time.
up. No, it's so true.
mock to
Sign
you.
me up. I want the easy button. Boop, boop. I want the easy button. No, it's so true, because I think in social media, because we're moving so fast all the time, I think there's a tendency to think we have to be on all the platforms. And that is mind-numbingly awful to think, because it's too much, especially if you're a small business, to think that you have to be everywhere. And chances are you don't. Like, I always joke that Snapchat is the best investment I never made. And I was glad, because it's not where my audience was.
Yeah, and you know what? When you look at
Yeah.
all the success stories, because we feel like we need to be on everything, because there's success stories on every platform.
I know.
But the big success stories did just do one thing really well before they moved on to do something else.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You look at them in their journey, like 10 years later, once they've like already built this incredible audience in one place and then transferred it over another place or even another place. They don't necessarily need to do that. But we look at it and think, oh, they must have grown them all at the same time. And they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have less than a minute left, and I'd like to ask you, give me each of you a word that summarizes your experience here. Just one
Oh.
word. What would you say?
Tiring. Caffeine induced.
What'd you say? What? Tiring.
And what about you?
I would say pattern interrupt.
Pattern interrupt. Ooh,
Yeah,
that
right.
is a multisyllabic word. So he won Scrabble. I'm sorry. He won hands down.
She said one word, Pete. One word.
That's okay. Hyphen count. It's one word with a hyphen. Everybody, you got to follow Andrew and Pete. Andrew and Pete, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening.